The first thing we would do is create the HTML document in our style sheet and also in our assets folder. In our HTML document, we'll place the basic structure, and we'll also install Bootstrap via the style sheet and the JS file. Once this is done, which is the basics, we'll start with the development. The first step would be to center the content both horizontally and vertically. And to do this, we'll use Flexbox through Bootstrap. Let's start by creating a div with the dflex class. And then inside this, we'll place a title with an h3 tag. And we'll add the title. You can add any text. I'll add this. I'll save the changes, we'll check our project, and it should be at the top, on the left side. But we want it centered, both vertically and horizontally. Well, to do this, we'll target the parent container of the elements we want to align, which is the dflex. So, to align it vertically, we'll use the class AlignItemCenter, and to center it horizontally, we'll use JustifyContentCenter, correctly written. I'll save the changes, we check our project, and as you can see, it didn't align at all. Let's see what's going on. So, we inspect it, we check the parent container, and the first thing we can notice is that the body tag doesn't occupy 100% of the screen height. To fix this, we go to the body tag, and right here we'll set the height property and we'll set it to 100 VH, which is view per height. I'll save the changes, check our project, hover over the body, and as you can see, it now occupies 100% of the height. Next, the parent container of the title should also occupy the remaining height and also the width, which it's already occupying. Well, for that, we go back to the parent container, which is dflex. And the first thing could be to set the W100 property so it occupies the entire remaining width. And for the height, obviously, it could be H100. Here I'll make a correction. It's justify with an F. I'll save the changes, check our project, and as you can see, now it should be aligned both vertically and horizontally. Now we'll move on to the main content, which could be the cards. For that, we'll go back to the HTML document, and below the H3, we'll create a div with the class. I'll name it Cards Collection. And inside, we'll place our cards. First, we'll start with just one, and then we'll repeat the code, because it's practically the same. And inside the card, obviously, it could be the card body. I'll save the changes, so we can see what we have. Well, we don't see anything. Oh, of course. We see that the card we've added is placed next to the title. This happens because the parent container of both the title and the cards has the dflex class. We want them to be on top of each other. I mean the title and the cards. So for this, we're going to cut the H3 and the cards with Ctrl X. And we're going to place them inside another container with the dflex class. And here on the side, we'll add the flex column class to create this, so that one element is above the other. We save the changes, verify, and as you can see, it should be there. Next, we don't want to see the cards occupy 100% of the width of the parent container. Well, to correct this, we need to give dimensions to the card. So we go to our HTML document and we're going to create a class for this. Or we can modify the card class, which is more effective. We place the card class in our style sheet, modifying its rule, and we set its width to about 350 pixels, by a height of 400. We save the changes, verify our project, and nothing happens because I haven't linked the style sheet in my HTML document. So I'll do it right now. Below, I add the link tag. Here, dot, slash, save the changes, verify the project, and as you can see, the card now has those dimensions. Now the next step is to make some adjustments to the standard Bootstrap card design. Well, for that, we'll go to our style sheet, and we're going to modify the card class. Although, since we already have it at the top, we're going to modify it in the same rule. First, we'll remove the rounded borders of the card, setting them to 0 pixels. Save the changes, verify, and as you can see, those borders are gone. The next step would be to place the content, I mean the text that comes inside, and then the background image. First, we'll start by placing the texts. So inside the card body, we'll place an H4. I'll be putting a small text of just one word, and below, we also create a span tag with a slightly longer text. I'll be putting the following. Save the changes, verify the project. As you can see, we now have both the title and the short description incorporated here. The next step could be to center or align the content both horizontally and vertically, just like we did with the title. So for that, we're going to cut these two elements. We place them inside a div with the divFlex class, and we'll also create another container with the same class. The first one is to align it vertically. So here we'll add align items center and justify content center to align it both vertically and horizontally. And the second container is to stack them one on top of the other. We add flex column. Save the changes, verify our project. Well, nothing happens here. Let's inspect the element, and the containers don't occupy 100% of the parent container, which is the car body. To fix this, we'll simply add the H100 class to the first one, and the same to the second one. Now we save the changes, verify our project, and, of course, in this case, I'm going to remove H100 from the second one. We verify, and as you can see, it's aligned now. This is vertically. Now horizontally is missing. We'll remove the justify content center class because it has no effect, and we'll use the text center class on each element we want to center horizontally. We add text center to the H4 and the same for the span tag. Save the changes, verify, and as you can see, it's aligned both vertically and horizontally. We'll now continue by adding the background image. I will have these 4 images in the assets folder, so I'll place one for each card. We go to our HTML document, and here in the car class, we'll start with the first background image. This could obviously be in the car class. We set the background image property, the URL function, and we enter the assets folder, banner-1.png. Save the changes, verify the project, and as you can see, the image is here. Something else I noticed and will correct right away are the borders. We haven't removed them, so we go to the car rule and we set the border property. We set it to 1 pixel. We make it solid and we'll give it a very light color. We'll use the color picker. This looks perfect. We'll add the important expression because we're modifying an existing rule. Sorry, a property. Here it's pixels. I'll save the changes, verify, and as you can see, it's not noticeable anymore. Now the next step is to properly configure the background image. For that, first, the position. We'll set background position and we center it both vertically and horizontally. We use center. Next is the size. We'll set the background size property and we select the cover value. Save the changes, verify the project, and as you can see, the image is correctly placed inside the card. Now, the next step would be to add a filter so that the image has a dark tone, and the text inside is clearly visible. Well, for that, first we'll make the text white. So beside text center in these 2 elements, we add the text white class. Save the changes, verify, and as you can see, it's not noticeable. And to solve this, we'll add that filter. We go to our style sheet, and here we'll create a class called BG_Light. We'll add opening and closing curly braces. We set the background color property to a dark color, black. We'll wait a moment for the color picker to appear. We'll enter, and after this, we'll lower the transparency until we reach approximately this point. You'll have to be testing. We'll copy the class, we go to our HTML document, and here we could place it in the first parent container of the texts, which is this one. We'll paste it here on the side. Save the changes, verify, and as you can see, we're already seeing the filter, but it's not complete. This happens because the car body class has a default padding, which we'll remove right now. We modify its rule, and we set the padding property to 0 pixels, adding the important expression. I'll save the changes, verify, and as you can see, it now fills the entire area, but we don't see any margin. For that, we need to reincorporate it, but in the class where the filter is placed. We'll add a P5 to test. Save the changes, verify. I think it's too much. I'll better use a 4. And that looks correct, although I think it's still too much. I think we better use a 3. We verify and we'll leave it there. The next step is to minimize this card and copy it 3 times. We copy with Ctrl+C and we paste it 1, 2, 3. That's correct because there should be 4. We'll save the changes and then the next step would be to correct the names of the images. Here I'll place image number 2, 3, and 4. Save the changes, verify, and as you can see, it places them in a block. To avoid this, we'll go to the parent class, which is card collection, and here we add dflex, just that. Save the changes, verify, and as you can see, they could be aligned now. Now we need to add some space between each card. Well, for that, beside dflex, we'll add a gap 4. Save the changes, verify, and as you can see, there's a separation. But I think the width is too large between each card. We'll decrease it, so we go to our style sheet and we set it to have a width of 300 pixels. Save the changes, verify, and I think it looks better like that. The next step is to create a separation between the title and also the cards. For that, we go here, and we also add the gap 4 class to make it the same size both here and in the alignment and separation of the cards. Now we need to center the main title because it's currently on the left side. For that, we go to the H3 and we add the text center class. Save the changes, verify, and it's centered again. And well, now we could move on to the main effect. The first thing is to make it so when we hover over, the entire block, the cards collection class, will add the fade out filter and also make it a bit smaller. We'll change the scale of the cards. So well, for that, we go to our style sheet. And the most important thing for that, obviously, is that the hover interaction should be on cards collection. So we copy, we add, we paste it. And after this, we add a column, hover, and where it will apply will obviously be on the cards. We add that card, and the first thing would be to add the cards with that effect, or with that filter. We add the filter property, we set the blur value, which is a function, and we set it to 5 pixels. And after this, the scale. We'll use transform, the scale function, and we set it to 0.7. 0.8 is better. Save the changes, verify our project, and now when we hover over the cards, this happens. The next thing is that, if we don't want to see a strong, abrupt transition, we'll add a transition. We go to the card rule and we add the transition property and we set it to 500 milliseconds. Save the changes, verify, and as you can see, the change is now slow. Now, the next step is that when we hover over a specific card, this card returns to its original size and becomes clear without that filter. Well, for that, we go to our style sheet and we add that card hover. We add opening and closing curly braces, and the next thing is to remove the filter. We add the filter property, the blur function, and we set it to 0 pixels. We also add the important expression at the end. And finally, the scale to return to 8 will set it back to 1, which is the original size. We add transform, scale to 1, and we add the important expression. We'll save the changes, verify, hover over a card, and as you can see, our effect is completed.